Well, get ready. I have a app coming out.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm shooting. I'm shooting for March, but I don't. I'm just
apples.
Huh?
You're slanging apples?
Apples, yeah, apples. Yeah, I think it's gonna work with what you're trying to do, Chana.
Oh yeah,
because you're doing a lot of manual calibration.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing you cannot do is you can't do EQ because you can't use your ears to figure out what EQ you should get. And so I think a lot of people are always trying to figure out target curves, right? And the target curves they use are usually Harman target or whatever the default Dirac one is. And the problem is that I've said it before, none of those are specific to your room. You could take your exact speakers right now, put them in a different room, and they're going to sound totally different. Why? Same exact speakers. Well, because of the room. So even with the same exact speaker, your room has a different effect. So what that tells me is that whatever target curve that that people are using out there, probably not the right one for your room. There's going to be some variation. I mean, if you're lucky, for some reason, your room just perfectly, works perfectly for it. All right, that's great. But for the most part, people aren't using the correct curves.
Do you think a lot of people are using other target curves, or most of them you think they're creating their own?
They're just using a target curve,
right?
Or whatever is automatically given by the AVR.
Okay, that makes sense.
So Odyssey has a default of tries to make it flat at your listening position.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Almost nobody.
I'm thinking more like RU and downloading.
Yeah. I'm talking about more like, let's say if you have Denon and Marantz, you're going to use Odyssey.
Right.
It's going to try to make it flat at your listening position, but they do the mid-range compensation.
Yeah.
So put a little dip around 2 kilohertz, and then they roll off the highs. And they say, all right, there you go. But pretty much everybody that I know that I've talked to, they're like, I wish I had more bass. Yeah. So even Michael, you turn up the bass.
I do.
Everybody that I know who turns up the bass, they're like, yeah, that sounds a little bit better, right? And then Dirac has they used to have a downward sloping curve. Am I doing that this way?
Yeah.
Downward slope. And that's also not correct. Now they try to kind of match what your speakers are doing in the room. A little bit more correct. Less wrong, but still not perfect. But I'm getting some questions here. It says, how would you describe target curve? The newest version takes your room. Yes, yeah. So Snoots, you're right. So that's what I just mentioned. The newest version of Dirac takes into account your in-room response. And that's better. That's all better than the previous set target, irrespective of default, how the speakers are performing in your room. But I would argue that none of those are still the best. There's still a better way to figure out those things and to get a better target response. And it's going to make a huge difference in the sound. And so I'm excited to get that out to everybody. I think it's going to be a game changer when it comes to really.
There's that phrase again.
Yeah, when it comes to trying to get the best possible sound from your speakers. Yeah,
well, I'm excited.
You got to have the right EQ. You got to, got to have the right target.
Now, will that utilize
the one that somebody came up with?
Is this a phone app, computer app? What is this?
It's going to be something that works on PC, Mac, and iPhone, Android.
Oh,
yeah.
So you can hook up your own microphone to it.
Yeah.
You might.
That's pretty cool. So far, we have it set up so that if you plug in a U mic, typically you have to go and download the calibration file. With this one, you can just type in the numbers there, get the file, boom, you're calibrated. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm very, very excited. I don't have pricing just yet, but I would say for anyone who's interested, follow me on my channel, youtube.com/Joe and Tell. And I'll have some updates there. I'm not good at updating. That's the problem with me. You know, I'm like, I want to wait till it's finished. But I should
Sometimes
actually
that's better.
People, you know, let them know what's happening. If I hit a snag or, you know, even just learning new things. But that's kind of what this is for, right? Anytime I learn something new, I try to share it with you guys. I'm not holding back anything. After every Monday podcast, we have an after show. If you're interested in joining us, go to patreon.com/daily HiFi.